Good morning, everyone. Wow. Okay. We're at 39 participants, 11 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. So I'm excited. I'm excited that all of you have joined. Good morning, Koshi and everybody. It's so good to see you guys. Emre, I love that. That is the best thing that I could read today. Hello, fellow hustlers. Yes, that's what we are. We're always hustling, that's what it's about. Umar, Hijazine, good morning. Good morning, Hamid from Pakistan. Oh, hello, Umayma. Good morning, everybody. I'm very, very happy you guys are all here. Thank you all for joining, honestly. My intention when I come to these webinars or I speak at these webinars or seminars is mostly to learn from all of you more than what you would learn from me. So any advice, any suggestions that you may have, any comments, I would love to take it in from you just as much as you're here to learn from me. I'm very grateful to Creative Zone for setting up the Startup Academy. I feel like for all of us entrepreneurs or hustlers, as it was mentioned earlier, we always strive to do better with ourselves first, and then obviously with our businesses. So yeah, this is to all the good times, and the tough times. So what we're gonna do, by the way, is we're just gonna quickly wait for everybody to log in. We've had over 300 registrations. We're not gonna try to wait for all the 300 to join, but in the next few minutes, we're gonna get cracking, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. There are some people that I notice here who know who I am, but there's some people who don't know, and I'll introduce myself a bit. Hi, Emre. Yes, absolutely. After the sort of having my LinkedIn as well, sort of having a lot of applications at once, to connect. So what I would suggest is, at the end of this webinar, for the people that want to connect, I will give you I will send you a connection request, and that way it'll be easy, to build that network. So we'll wait for one more minute. It's 11:04. 11:05, we'll get cracking. Okay, it is 11:05. Maybe I'll wait one more minute, just one more minute. There's a lot of participants continuing to join, and then we'll take it from there. And I do have a presentation to share with all of you today, but the presentation, it's good, but it's more on the technical aspect of the things. I feel with something as important as networking and creating partnerships, I think first we need to unbox the soft skills that we need and what it takes. And I can tell you one thing, as confident as I may seem right now, I can tell you once upon a time I was extremely shy. And I'll tell you how I was able to come out of that box and then, be who I am today. So as much as people say, oh, Umar is a social butterfly, or he's an extrovert and whatever, you have no idea. I'm actually more of an introvert. I can be by myself the whole day. I love sitting in a corner and just cuddling with a blanket, and that's it. But okay, so without further ado, it's 59 participants. I was waiting for 60, but I don't want to take too much of your time because I know all of you have busy schedules. So just to introduce myself again, first of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Omar Al Busaidi. I am a Fulbright scholar. Some of you may know, may not know. It's a scholarship that is given by the U.S. government every year to people around the world to do their masters in the U.S. Apart from being a Fulbright scholar, I'm also an author. So I published a book, and my book is called Just Read It. And this is in a cool way. I just mentioned the name of the book in the chat. Just Read It is a self-help book for aspiring entrepreneurs. So what I did in Just Read It is basically I put together a collection of social and emotional intelligence. And it's mostly things that you already know. All I did is I just Omarized it. So I published the book. It did really well. And I tried to like summarize my talks in that book. So apart from publishing a book and being a Fulbright scholar, I am the founder of Global Possibilities Consulting. So Global Possibilities focuses on two main things. I do commercial affairs and public diplomacy. So what does that mean? In commercial affairs, very simply, I help companies grow. How do I help companies grow and scale? I do lead generation, I engineer relationships, I help companies with their strategy or their go-to-market strategy, who to speak to, when to speak to them, how to connect what you're doing to some of the initiatives of the government. I have now, thank God, about 20 years experience in both the public and private sector in the UAE. I know I may seem a bit young, but I did my bachelor's degree here at the American University in Dubai in marketing. But when I was a student, I was a full-time employee and a part-time student. So I started my career in banking, and in banking, I progressed from there. After 3 years, I moved to the Department of Economic Development in Dubai. And then I had the opportunity to work in the organization that changed my personality, which is working at the British Embassy. So when I was at the British Embassy, I was a senior commercial attaché. What that means is my role was to support British companies to win contracts in Abu Dhabi. I was supposed to like open doors for them, give them sort of like a cultural awareness sessions on how to do business in the UAE. So there's all these different nuances that are extremely important for people to understand on how to do business here, and then actually do the business. Because yes, there's a lot of resources here. Yes, there's a lot of ambition. Yes, there's a lot of campaigns asking people, come. But now it's one thing when you come to the UAE to do business. It's another thing to actually get the business. There are people, by the way, I'm sure many of you know, some people who are very happy with the success they've achieved. And there's some people who are like, oh, they came and they were frustrated and they just left. And the reason is they just didn't get the right advice. And I'm here with you today as an Emirati myself to tell you exactly how to crack the code of doing business here. Very quickly, I moved from the British Embassy. I worked at the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and International Relations. My job there was not only to work with the Brits, but to work with people from all over the world to do business in the UAE. I moved from there. I worked in the municipality in Abu Dhabi. I worked in tourism. I was also a radio host, which probably explains why I like to speak a lot. And it should actually be, as a radio host, you have to listen more than you should speak, but whatever. And last but not least, I then got my scholarship, my Fulbright scholarship. I did my master's in international affairs and intelligence at Florida State University. After graduating, I worked at the UAE consulate in New York, and my job there was similar to the British Embassy. My job was to support US companies to expand to the UAE, which explains today why I have a lot of my clients from the US than anywhere else. Global Possibilities, for your information, started in the US. So my company is registered in Florida, is registered in Dubai, thanks to Creative Zone, who helped with all the paperwork for my license. And of course, it's also opened and registered in Malaysia as well. So I'm in Kuala Lumpur. Now, very quickly, today's session is very simple. We're talking about networking and partnerships. Let me tell you rule number one. And guys, I hope you have your notebook with you. And this is very, very important to know for everything. And this is not just in business, but this is also in your own personal life. Remember this, it's a very famous quote. Your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth, okay? So I'm gonna write it here. Sorry, I just I made a mistake there, but I'm just typing it again. Net worth. Okay, your network is your net worth. A lot of you probably know this. We're all in the entrepreneurship space or whatever, but I'm going to assume there might be some people who may not know this. What does that mean? The people that your circle, the people that you know, the people that you surround yourself with, all of that, it puts almost like a monetary and non-monetary value on who you are as a person and how far you can go in life. I'm telling you from now. If you look at the people in your circle and they don't have, number one, I'm not even talking about what positions they have, what titles, how much money they have in their account. That's a given. But number one, it's about the ambition that they have. For me, the network that I have and the people I surround myself with are literally all big time, like super achievers. Like they constantly want to excel. I'm not even like them. I want to be like them, but you have to put these kind of people who have the drive, who have the ambition to go further in life. So if you have people who have that kind of a mindset, this will determine everything about your business. That is one thing. So their mindset. Then number two, the kind of network I have are people who are genuinely willing to always help and to go out of their way. So again, look back at your network, your circle, whether it's your family, your friends, acquaintances, people you've never met before. The moment you have good people, like make sure to hold on to them and keep them in your circle, because if these people want to see you succeed, they will help you get very far in life, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life. And then number three, of course, you have to look at also their lifestyle. If you have people that constantly want to go clubbing and partying every single day or every whatever, then, they're probably not the kind of people that you want to have in your life if you want to succeed in business or whatever. You need to have people who are constantly working on the next big thing. So that is extremely important. I can tell you this, guys. My personal story, I told you about my professional life and all these supposed achievements, right? Like publishing a book and getting the Fulbright scholarship, etc. But really what changed my life, because I didn't come from a successful family, by the way. My father, he worked in the army, was a very simple job and everything else. We didn't have much growing up. But what was really important, the people that I surrounded myself with were people that told me, hey, you could do more than just getting a job and that's it. But you have to be able to like try to make money or open a business in different things. And you have the capabilities. You just have to unleash yourself. So I surrounded myself with very successful people at a time when I didn't have much. I'm telling you this, that a lot of my friends had traveled to so many countries. They had a lot of like nice things. My first pair of like Nike shoes, it was like, I think I was 18, 19 years old, because it was too expensive for us to afford it when we were younger. And I think my mom just did that on purpose because she didn't want to spoil us, I guess, or whatever. But I still feel it was still a bit expensive for us growing up. So what I'm trying to say is, because of the fact we didn't have much, when I was around these successful people, I kind of felt shy. I didn't have much to relate to them with, all these like young kids around me and stuff. But slowly, I started to just like pay more attention, listen to them and listen to the things that their parents were doing, etc. And then slowly these guys, because they saw how much drive I had, they started to like educate me on the kind of opportunities their fathers were doing in business. I started to go to their offices and, when parents get a chance to take their kids to work. So I had a chance to be around that surrounding, learning about business, listening, taking notes all the time. So at a very young age, I was just constantly going to adult meetings, just taking notes. So this is what I mean when I'm saying that try to surround yourself around people that are already successful and you can learn a lot from them. Now, moving on, where I started to build my confidence. Now, I'm telling you all these things about you personally that you need to do before you start into the networking. And we'll get to that because I have a whole deck of slides that we'll talk about later. But for now, I'm talking about you as an individual, understanding who you are, what you have going on right now with yourself, and what you're able to do with it. So what happened is I needed, number one, let's say first step about networking is understanding yourself. And understanding yourself, I had to understand, do I have the confidence to speak to people? So what I used to do, there used to be a guy, his name was Ali Awinati. This guy was a friend of mine. And he, there's a saying, he could sell sand to the Arabs. Basically, he was such a good speaker or orator or whatever you want to call it. He's, when you remember when Obama was president, I mean, I don't really think he was an awesome president, but, the way he spoke, like, you could just freeze and you just want to listen to him speak. It was very motivational, inspirational. So Ali was like that. And every time we went out, I noticed that even when we were a group of like 4 people, nobody would speak and only Ali would speak and people would listen the entire time. And I was like, how does this guy have the power to control an audience like that? Basically, I was, and they say the best sort of form of learning is learned by observations. I just observed his mannerisms, his nonverbal communication, his hands. And what I started to do, believe it or not, I started to speak to myself in front of the mirror. And I noticed, my mom sometimes thought I was crazy or I was like talking to some ghost or some, Arab moms, they're always very superstitious and they think like, there's a ghost everywhere, and whatever. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Anyways, but the point is, my mom used to think I was like, she was superstitious, thought I was crazy or whatever, and I was dealing with my demons or ghosts or something. But anyways, I'm still dealing with my demons. But the point is, I started doing that all the time in front of the mirror. And I started to realize one of the things that I needed to do was to improve my vocabulary. I needed to improve my accent. I needed to improve like my knowledge of things. So I started just to do a lot of like research. Now, I told you rule number 1, your network is your net worth. Now, what I noticed is, why was he able to get that audience or grab the audience? He was able to grab the audience because he was very interesting. Now, this is what I learned as well, which many of you probably already know. If you want to be interesting, you have to be interested. Try to absorb that one more time. If you want to be interesting, you have to be interested. So what does that mean? If you go and meet a group of people, like we were going out, we're meeting a group of people. These guys were hardcore into like American football, okay? And the reason, what I noticed is, before this, I had no confidence. I would just stay silent. And the reason I wouldn't speak is because I just didn't know anything about American football. But then I got online, I started to research and read more about like American football, all the different plays, all the different teams, etc. So the more that I read about it, when I was there, then I suddenly had influence in the conversation. I had like some sort of relevance to be even sitting there. So when you're interested in a conversation or interested in people's interests, it helps you sort of like, so one of the things I always tell people, apart from if you want to be interested, if you're interesting, you have to be interested. Another thing is, thank you for that, Koshi, from David Ogilvy. I love that. Now, the next thing is, what I like to do as well is, especially when you're going to go into networking, it's very, very important. Remember this, guys. It's very important to know a little about a lot of things than a lot about a few things. It's very important to know a little about a lot of things. Agriculture, F&B, apparel, like clothing, gold, oil, gas, energy, sustainability, like everything. Just immerse yourself in the pool of knowledge about different things. Just have good general knowledge and a good understanding of just like macroeconomics and everything else. Just understand different things. But just know, even if you know a little bit, you can obviously dive into some things that you may find very interesting or be relevant to you. But it's very good to know a little about a lot of things than a lot about a few things, especially when you want to get into networking. Because when you meet with people, usually whenever there's a group of people, yes, sometimes you could be in an event where people are from different sectors, but sometimes, which that could be maybe something when you go to like the World Economic Forum. But obviously, if you go to like a food exhibition, 99%, most of the people are all into food. So maybe then that's okay, you know? So it's very important to understand these different points when you're going into, the networking and stuff. And then I'll tell you this, sometimes they tell you, put on this game face. So when you have your game face is like, listen, when you're going to networking, you gotta like be prepared as well. So when I go to an event, I try to do a lot of research about the kind of people at an event, the agenda of those events, what would be spoken, who's going to be speaking. I research a little bit about them. The more that you do all these things, I'm telling you, you will be a complete different player at that session. People will all remember you. And most importantly, after all of these things that I mentioned, I don't know about you, but sometimes, maybe this is with me, it's happening with age, but I'm starting to forget people's names. So it's very important, if you can, maybe have some magnesium pills or something, I don't know, whatever that can help you with your memory, but it's very, very good. And people love when you make it personable, when you're networking with them and you remember them by their name, even just their first name. It's very important. So there's lots of videos, there's lots of TED Talks and stuff that you can go and learn the skills of how can you remember people's names even better and stuff, because that's what happens in networking. And sometimes there's so many people, because it's really embarrassing when you don't realize that sometimes that you might be talking to somebody who's extremely important for your business and then you forget their names and you ask them later. So it could be a bit embarrassing, but there's always jokes around it, that you can try to remember to like break the ice. Now, the other thing I want to tell you is, as much as I told you about remembering people's names and remembering how your skill sets, etc. When you're trying to engage in networking, my recommendation as well is always never underestimate anyone. Now, one of the things that happens, the biggest mistakes in networking is sometimes people look at others and be like, the person is not dressed very well, I don't want to associate. You don't know, but you don't even know that person who's probably in a hoodie owns like some unicorn tech startup or whatever. You can never underestimate anyone. You have no idea. And don't even underestimate like people that are working there, like ushers or the waiters or whatever. You have to give everybody the same level of respect, because you don't know, that person who's the waiter or whatever, or the usher, could be someone who is well trusted or respected by, let's say, the host of the event. And the host of the event will say, oh, by the way, give me insights about some of the people you met. If you can leave like a memorable experience with everybody that you come across, I'm telling you, you will be celebrated for life. People are always gonna sing praises about you. So these are some of the small tips that I'm giving you now. I mean, look, we can go on forever, but I want to try to make this more dynamic and stuff. And by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions, drop your comments. I love that some of the points, people are bringing up the comments that are, or the actual quotes, because these quotes are not by me, some of the things that I'm saying, they're quotes from other renowned people, and I'm just like re-quoting them. So just making sure, that no plagiarism, okay, while we're doing this session. Anyways, now let me go straight into the deck, because I don't want to, I feel like, it's already 11:25 and I don't want to take too much of the time, but we'll go into the deck, and then after the deck, we'll come back and we can do a Q&A and everything else. Make it as dynamic and as cool as possible, because this is like, hopefully this will be some dimes for you to have before you start off your weekend. You may be going to a networking event this weekend. So, and it's very important that we're having this session now, because September, there's this endless number of events. Like now, this is the event season. You're going to be going to events almost every week from now on till the end of the year, where we get a short Christmas break and then we start all over again in January. So let me start with sharing my screen and we'll dive straight into the deck. So One of the things that I mentioned today, I already told you about, is the art of creating a strong network. Hopefully, there's some of the strategies that I'll be discussing with you will help build and maintain like an effective network for yourself and your peers. I told you about expanding your network. Now, you may be in a certain industry, and let's say you're in manufacturing or something, and a lot of the times you probably just hang out with people in that field. I strongly suggest to not do that. You have to be diverse. Rule number one in life, if you want to do anything, you have to get out of your comfort zone. So my recommendation is always get out of your comfort zone. Somebody asked me a question actually and said, hey, listen, what if I'm a shy person? What do I do? I told him this. And this came from a woman. And I said, you know what? Are you comfortable if, for example, when you're in a networking event, maybe you talk to a woman first rather than talking to a man, or vice versa? A man, there's lots of men who are shy too. A man could be shy before talking to a woman. Then I think it's best that you talk to another guy first. Now, another thing with familiarity and stuff. Oh, by the way, I just noticed we have 186 participants. This is so cool. Talk about clout. This is nice. Anyways, another thing I would tell you is, for example, if you see like for me, I'll be very honest with you. As an Emirati, like in the beginning, I noticed that I was more comfortable to talk to people who were dressed like me. But now I try not to do that, because what happens is, especially Emiratis, like when we see each other, a lot of the times we see each other, we'll talk about the business, but a lot of the time we're trying to talk and identify who else do we know in common, or especially because we look at our last names, like the guy Al Busaidi, and see my last name and go, oh, does this Al Busaidi relate to you? Does this one is this and this? So we start talking about family. So it moves away from the topic of whatever, and it goes on to other things. So I try to expand my network by not sticking to talking about family, tribes and stuff. I talk to like anybody else, anybody random that I see. And it's also important, by the way, yes, you shouldn't be rude, but don't stick to networking at an event with like one person the whole evening or day. You have to try to diversify. So always look to talk to someone, do your thing for 10 minutes or something, and then that's it. Like, for example, we have a guy here in the chat. His name is Mr. Koshi Samuel. Koshi met me at an event finally after so long. We took a picture. And then, but he knew, like he had to network, I had to network. So he's like, no worries, we'll connect some other time. But he met me there. We did it like a quick hello and hi and everything else. And that's it. We went off in our separate ways, right, Koshi? Anyway, that's Koshi for you. Now, there's also accessing your resources. Your network can provide you with resources and information that can be useful in your professional life. That's absolutely true. The beautiful thing about networking in the UAE, I love it. Every time you know someone, they tell you, oh, I know this person, maybe this person, you should talk to this person, you should talk to this person, and whatever. So I love that. And here, that's what I was able to do. Like, and by the way, if you can almost like return the favor at the same time, it's really cool. Like, you connect this person connect this, everybody goes happy. So it's, try to be as giving as possible and increase visibility. Like, I love that there was a session that Creative Zone organized with Kelly, who talked about personal branding. The personal brand is more important than anything you can imagine. How you dress, how you speak, how you smell. By the way, you got to make sure you smell good, you look good. Like, all of those things are very important, because people will be like, oh, this person is like well kept and whatever. And then the kind of knowledge that you carry and how you speak and everything else goes a long way. Now, identifying your goals and target audience. I told you guys, before you go to a networking event, you have to set your goals. Like, what do you want to do? I can tell you one thing. I get invited to so many events, but if I see an event will not really achieve my goals and I look at my priority, then you know what? I don't even go, If I have to, I will go to an event for like maximum an hour, even maybe less, go do my rounds and then disappear, So that's my thing. And understanding your audience. Like I said, when I look at an event that I really do want to go to and I know I'm going to benefit, I will do the mother of the research and realize who's coming, what they've done, see if they've come up under any sort of like press release, and read the heck out of them. When I go, I pretend like I already know them. There's not even it doesn't even become an icebreaker. It becomes like we're family because I know them already. So it's all good. So that's one of the things that I strongly suggest to try to understand your audience. And of course, getting online and, like, thank you all. Many of you have shared that you're going to be attending this session with me today. Go online, tell people, hey, I attended this session, etc. And the more you do that, the more people will be like in your network, like, oh, okay, you know what, this person seems like they're a lifelong learner and they're engaged with what's going on. So they kind of like respect you more and they want to give you more of their time. So strategies for effective networking. I told you, be prepared, be active. I can tell you one thing, guys, about being active. The problem is sometimes for me, I know many of you might face the same thing. I just get tired of talking. And sometimes when you're at an event, there's so many people, there's a lot of energy. There's so many energies. There's some people with great energy, some people with terrible energy, and everybody has something they want to say. People want to ask you questions. Like what I really love, I'll be very honest, when I'm at an event, when there's someone who come to me and said, listen, give me your details, we'll talk later. I love it because I can see when they say you can read the room, like you can read the expressions or the energy of a person, and you know that maybe this is not the right time to speak to them. And you have to understand, guys, especially this part of the world, maybe some of you are trying to connect with like whatever, different individuals. You have to understand that sometimes people are just super overwhelmed. They have a personal life. They probably have their wives or their families or their kids or this or their pets and whatever. And there's a lot of things going on at the same time. And maybe being at that event is also overwhelming. So if you feel like they've been there for a while, give them the space, say, hey, I just want your details. We'll talk later. People will love you so much because they'll be like, wow, this guy was super considerate. So think about that. Being authentic, it's absolutely important. Genuine connections are more valuable than superficial ones. Seek to build relationships rather than just adding contacts to your list. So that's why I'll be very honest, guys. My LinkedIn, I blocked it, like I locked it. I didn't block it, I locked it. I don't want to just have so many connections. If I see that this is something where we can have an authentic relationship, I will connect with you. We'll meet for coffee. We'll do whatever. And yes, for sure. So this is what I do. But there's some people who just want to connect and then we do nothing. So I don't want to have just an artificial relationship with someone. You know what I mean? Anyways. And then being persistent, one of the things I know, and I know this, guys, all of you have been in this position, all of us. You want to talk to someone, but then this person is like overwhelmed. Like there's a swarm of people that everybody wants to talk to. And you're like, oh my God, and then this person probably is moving to another room, another room, another room. So sometimes it's good to be persistent. Be persistent, but don't be creepy. There's a very thin line between being persistent and being creepy. There's some people who like chase someone all the way down to the parking lot or, chase them with their cars. I mean, you can chase someone with the parking lot, maybe not. You have to read the room again. But like, just don't be creepy and don't be like a stalker. Like, just be cool and calm and composed. And the more you're calm and composed, the more you will learn. I'll tell you this, guys. One of the places I learned a lot about my confidence and how to like actually speak to people is movies. Movies help. I've watched so many movies where, you learn about somebody who was like a founder of a business or something, and then how they grew. Like I like to read about their stories, but when you watch them in acting, like you can see how they behaved, and you can almost see the mannerisms of both sides, like the guy who is trying to sell and the guy he's trying to sell to, So anyways. And then leveraging social media platforms. Hey, LinkedIn is amazing. I've connected with so many good people on LinkedIn. Twitter really helps. I'm very active on Twitter. Instagram, by the way, if you write my name, Omar Al Busaidi, Twitter, Instagram, I'm more active on those than Facebook. Facebook works a lot in the States. So when I'm in the US for global possibilities, a lot of my network on Facebook. But here, Twitter, Instagram, and obviously LinkedIn, it really works very well. Creating lasting connections. So sometimes, by the way, what I love on LinkedIn, they have that option of giving somebody kudos or giving somebody a recommendation. So many times I'll give somebody kudos or recommendation or like a shout out randomly, like they feel so good. Like, oh, this person, I'm on their mind. Clearly, I had some influence on them or impact. So it's good to be proactive like that. I told you, take somebody for coffee. It's always good to build a relationship like that. Again, even the coffee, don't make it's coffee. It's not dinner. It's not like Thanksgiving or whatever, or Eid. So if you drink coffee, you finish, you don't have to order another one. Halas, you finish your coffee, try to move on, go on to the next thing, And of course, be memorable. I think one of the ways to be memorable is if you leave someone better than how you met them, it will be beyond memorable. People will, if someone, what, for me, it's not just about singing praises, but if somebody prays for you, that's the most special thing in the world. When people tell me, oh, you did so much for me, or you did this and whatever, tell me, what can I do for you? You know what? I tell them, please, when you pray, however you pray, if you are whatever faith you believe in, if you're praying, remember me in your prayers. That is more valuable in my own belief system, is the most beautiful thing you can get. If people pray for you, that's huge. It's kind of cool, actually. Anyways. Maintaining and strengthening your network. Regular check-ins. So, the typical thing to do, especially when you're networking and creating partnerships, is you have all the major holidays. So for me, for example, I have friends that celebrate like Christmas and Hanukkah and Rosh Hashanah, or like Diwali, and of course you have Eid and Ramadan, everything. It's very good to know about these things. If you know somebody who has this, or their birthday, whatever, it's good to remember that and then check in on them on that. And also, checking on them just like randomly as well. It also plays a very, very important role in maintaining a relationship. And providing value. I just told you, if you share certain information, like when I know people who are in a certain field, and if I find a news article or something, or an announcement by the government, oh, by the way, there's this, or there's a competition, you can pitch for this and then you might win a grant. I always tag my network. I'm like, hey, you should apply for this, you talk to this and whatever. And then, of course, connecting others. So sometimes I know people in my network, I want to connect them to this network, So that's what I do. And then measuring the success of your network. This is my last slide. Now, number of new connections, number of referral leads, number of new clients. I mean, what I started to do, to be honest, is now I have like a proper database, and I have like an Excel sheet, and I put all these things there. Try to mention like who's from what sector, etc. So, because again, in the end of the day, by the way, just to let you know, my company, Global Possibilities, to be very honest, now I am monetizing all these years that I've collected all this network and everything else, and this is how I get paid. Clients pay me to open doors for them. So I have, alhamdulillah, thank God, a very good network. And today, I am hired by some of the top companies from around the world that want me to support them to open their doors to enter the UAE market. And I help them in the UAE and the GCC. So I give them a quotation, they take care of me, and everybody is happy. So this is what I've been able to do over all this time. So sometimes, whether you've been focused so much on a craft, that's where you're able to like monetize it. And I've been doing networking for my entire life. And my mom's always like, you're always doing all this and whatever, like some people be, oh, you weren't even making a cut, or you weren't getting this. But now, there's relationships where I just share them. And there's relationships where, frankly, I'm like, look, if we want to do this, let's all benefit from this. So people pay me, and that's where I do Global Possibilities. And that's how I measure my networking efforts and everything. This is what I'm saying. So you can also do the same as well. I'm going to stop share because there's a whole bunch of questions, guys, and I want to get to the questions. So, okay, there's one which is hello. So that's not a question, but hello, Namrata. And then there's an anonymous. Somebody said, I'm looking for a job. Okay, I can't help there. So Ali says, I'm afraid to speak in front of an audience. What should I do? I don't know, Ali, I probably answered your question or not. But you're saying even in your local language, in a group of people, I always speak, but in front of people, I become scared. So that is the same thing. I think, like I said, if the more you study the kind of conversations that are taking place in the room or going to take place in the room, the better it will keep you prepared. So you will know when you're going to talk to someone, it will be easy to sort of like have a conversation with that person. So I'll tell you this. What happens sometimes, what I do is, let's say I've not done my homework. Do you have times when you go to a networking event and you've not done enough homework to know what's going on? What I do is I will try to talk about something random. Like sometimes I might talk about, it'll be like something I noticed on the person's outfit. Like, oh, this is I'll be like, oh, nice tie, by the way. Or, oh, nice shoes, by the way. But when you do that, you immediately like kind of like break the ice and stuff. So try to find something where you could make a joke almost, or like a kind of a pleasant comment, and then you never know where it'll go. Be careful though. Like, listen, sometimes there's some people you want to be careful. Like if you're a man talking to a woman, you might say, oh, nice shoes. Maybe you might see it's nice shoes. You don't want to necessarily say that because they might take it the wrong way. Same thing the other way around. A woman might say something to a guy and they might be whatever. So there are always this different nuance, but you have to sort of try to be as considerate as possible. There are mistakes on the way. We all make them. I've made some horrendous mistakes in networking, and I can talk that we can have another session only on the blunders of networking, and that I need a 2-hour session, not 1 hour. Next question. Okay. There's Muhsin says, I registered my software house in the UAE, but how should I start with the local connections and local contracts as a new business in the UAE in the software industry? So one of the things that I do is I always tell people, the best thing to do is to look up the events. So if you go on Eventbrite, you'll see you could customize or you can filter the kind of event that you want to attend, where you probably will get the kind of clients you're looking for. Now, you say software is very broad. What kind of software? So I would look for that particular sector and I would go there, and that would be the best place to make those connections. Hope that helps. Okay, so Israr, thanks for sharing good points about networking. If you have to target UAE market especially, what should be the core point being UAE national to hit the market? I worked with UAE companies, but sometimes it's hard to get good networking. If you have to target UAE market especially, what should be the core point being being a UAE national? I think the core, what I would say, Israr, is understanding the government vision. Now, what I like to do, by the way, is if you read the news, like when you read about, for example, the UAE has something called the Centennial Plan 2071. Then there's something called, the UAE recently just joined BRICS. Then the UAE just did like a whole bunch of different things. So like if you can look up like the goals and the vision of the UAE government, that way it will make you more relevant when you're trying to talk to a particular client. Like you're attaching your particular project or whatever it is to like the bigger, wider UAE vision. So when you do that and you target the UAE goals, that would be perfect. So even Dubai has a Dubai Plan 2040. Abu Dhabi has Abu Dhabi Vision 2030. Like there's all these different things that you need to read about, that you have to understand. And that would be like the core for entering the UAE market. I have another question I'm going to read. As a sales and business development fraternity member since 26 years, I have to share majority of my business comes from attending events. I've attended all major events across industries that have happened in Dubai. Why do you think a lot of senior management feel it's a waste of time and hence don't recommend it to every sales team member, and hence the new client onboarding is slow versus someone like me who can network with new people and existing clients? What would be your message to such management stakeholders who only want to see their team in office and only go for confirmed meetings? Yours truly, Pradeep. Pradeep, all I'm going to tell you is I resigned. I quit. And that's exactly what I did, because they tried to shut you down so hard that it's not meant for you. So if this clearly for me, it tells me you're not working for the right employer, or the manager doesn't want you to like steal their light or whatever it is, whatever the light is sitting in the office. So for me, my advice to you, resign, like leave as quickly as you can, because it's a toxic environment and they're trying to put your light out. Okay. I'm leaving this Q&A question box because I feel like rather than people putting it in the Q&A box, everybody's putting it in the chat. So I'll go back to the chat. Okay. How to leverage, Muhammad is asking, how to leverage your network after building many connections, why people fail to follow up on their connections. Why people fail to follow up, Muhammad, I can tell you this. People are just lazy. Like sometimes that's the truth. We're just, we make a connection that we just get away. Or sometimes we're even shy. We're like, we met this person and then we're like, like, I don't know, how do I reconnect with this person? How do I restart the conversation? So yes, that's what happens. So my suggestion is don't do it. Like, again, people today are putting out their lives a lot on social media. So if you can make a reference to the person that you created a network before and say, hey, I saw you recently in this piece, or you mentioned this thing in this article. And, like if you give them props like that, it will be very good to sort of like reconnect with those people. Okay. So Talente is asking, Omar, when networking should I, wait, let me just read this properly. When networking, should I always keep it professional and just, when networking, should I always keep it professional and just business, or try to make it friendly and personal? Again, just read the room. There are some people who really want to be very like, straight to the point, into the whatever, because there's a lot happening. And there's some people who wouldn't mind, keeping it chilled and stuff like that. So I just look at the vibe, but to be honest, when I network, I almost always like I make it personal very quickly and friendly, like they notice that I get bored trying to be strict. I can't keep a straight face the whole time. It's very difficult, I get it from my mom. Okay, Jessica here, based in Dubai, in digital and social marketing and in startup space. Happy to connect. Oh, okay. Hi, Jessica, we'll connect. How to keep a distance with people without offending them? Very, very good question. Now, the question, Tatiana, is, do you feel these people are being like stalkerish? Are they like stalking you the whole time, like after the networking event? Or you mean at the event? It's two different things. Because if it's at the event, just call security. And if it is, I mean, but you have to almost, I mean, I know you said you don't want to offend them. So yeah, but I think the best way to politely do it, what I do is like, I'll be like, listen, give me your details and I'll speak to you later. We'll connect at another time, and honestly, sometimes make an excuse, say like, I have to do something else, or I need to talk to this person now. We can talk later, but we'll connect, So when you do that way, at least you're getting away and you're not, offending them like, or too much or too little or whatever, Then we have, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how's it going? I don't know if this is Bobby, the one that I know, Fatma from Uzbekistan, that gave, she's an amazing tour guide, by the way, in Samarkand. Oh yeah, Fatma, it is. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, it is Fatma from Samarkand, yes. Fatma now, she's from Uzbekistan, but lives here. But by the way, guys, if you ever want to go, you should go to Samarkand. And by the way, let me show you this. This is what Bobby gave me from Samarkand. That amazing gift there. Anyways, so 3 key qualities for the lady entering new market with patriarchal outlook. Fatma, I don't know, like for you, you have such great energy. I don't know why anybody would give you, like you'd have a patriarchal sort of like wall, But I feel, I love this question, by the way, and I feel you have to know this. Women have such a huge or an immense amount of power to command a room anywhere. I mean, I am a product of my mother and two of my sisters. So they really helped me be who I am today. And the reason is because they're gentle, they're kind, they're funny. I got the qualities of being gentle, I guess, kind, I hope I am, and funny, I hope I am, from my mom and my sisters, because they're very cool. So with men, I can tell you this, as a man, so we can be really boring, okay? And sometimes we try to put on, like, it's our ego, like when we're in the room trying to show that we're important or whatever. But women have the way that they could sort of like calm our egos down and then, you know, make it more relaxed. So I don't know if it is like 3 key qualities. I would just tell you that, you know, again, like I said, you know, the qualities of being, I guess, it's a woman's superpower. That's why they say that, you know, especially children, when they are nurtured by moms, it's far more important than men or their fathers, you know, although you need both, but it's different. Anyways, we can talk more, Bobby. You can call me. We can talk later. Itibar Lee. Okay. Wow, what a cool name. Okay. Business setup advisor based in UAE. Work at Creative Zone. You don't work at Creative Zone, it's not good. Okay, my question. You should just met Bezos in a networking event. What would be your first 3 questions? I love that. Okay, that's a very tough question for me. What would be the first 3 questions I'd ask Jeff Bezos? I would say, number 1, have you been to the UAE? Because I would talk about, you know, that connection. That would be 1. Number 2, I would say, you know, I just want to know, like, who has been the biggest influence in your life? I love knowing about this, you know. And number 3, what's next? Those are my questions. Okay. Lise, thank you. Yes. Oh, okay. How do you deal with the client rejection without being too pushy? So, Avital. I guess Avital, by the way, she's amazing. She's one of my very good friends and I love her to death. So, Avital, how do you deal with a client rejection without being too pushy? I guess what I would say is, you know, maybe we can circle back and talk about this some other time, or maybe I can say, listen, do you have, or what's your expectation? Like, you know, I understand my proposal was not great, but what's your expectation of, you know, this particular service? You know, how can we try to find like a middle ground? How can I cater to your needs even better, you know? Or what are you looking for in a service provider? I think because if somebody rejected, there's something they saw. So that either they know of, which is a better opportunity or a better offer, or maybe it's not the right time, you know? It could be budget issues, could be managerial issues, anything. In your opinion, how many more years do you think online networking can completely replace traditional marketing? My intention is asking the question is to understand the importance the UAE government has placed in this matter. Mahmoud, honestly, I feel it won't be, nothing will eliminate the other, in my opinion. Ask me, Umar, okay? I don't have a 8 ball, but I would say that this hybrid situation, like what's going on right now, we're doing this is online, and there's I don't know, over 200 people in this chat. I think it's going to exist. There's a networking event I was just at last week, and then there's this one. So you can have both can work and interject properly, you know, so or will coexist. Then we've got how do you engage with your potential connect, this from Pradeep, who you have seen for the first time and you know it can be a great collaboration with him or her. I don't let them go. I put them on my WhatsApp. So I take it to the next level, because immediately with somebody I know I want them for life, I tell them, let's connect on WhatsApp, and then, you know, take them home and whatever, and that's it. Like invite them for dinners. Like I'll keep that person on repeat, you know, every 2 weeks, check in on them instead of like every 3 or 4 months. I don't know how much more time we have. I mean, it looks like maybe 5 more minutes or something. I don't know if this was an hour or like 2 hours. You know, Creative Zone is gonna make sure I'm here forever. How much business Wait, there's more questions. Wait, I'm trying to go back to the questions because they keep going down. If Muhammad Salim is asking, if two people are talking with each other, is it good to make an entry to conversation or let them finish first? I would listen. That's a very good question. When two people are talking, it looks. I try to see if they're standing at a distance. It looks like okay, maybe it's not very serious or intense. If they're very close to each other, it means they're discussing something that's important. But what I do, regardless, I'll stand in a way where I'm like at the person's peripheral view. They can see that somebody's looking and waiting, and then I'll take my chance. So a lot of the times I just stand, and I'll stand patiently. I'll smile. I won't like just stare at them like with my eyes because I get that a lot. But they'll be around and you get it. So I'll be maybe on my phone or something, or just keeping an eye contact. Like I'll look up and look down, up and down, like but do not be a stalker. Okay. What about a group of people of opposite gender? Like sometimes it seems like it's a women's club or a men's club. Then listen, if it's a women's club or a man, like it depends how badly you need to see someone. So Muhammad Salim, if you need to see someone really bad, just say, look, I don't mean to interject. I mean no disrespect. I just want to give you my details. I need to talk to you about something. I hope we can connect later, and then you can make your way out. So you can leave the men's club or the boys club or the women's club, like themselves. Oh my God, guys, there's way too many questions. I hope I can get to all of them. What's the most memorable approach that you received at an event? My most memorable, I guess, approach or comment was once I was recognized by Sheikh Diab bin Mohammed bin Zayed. He's the son of the president of the UAE. And he talked about how there was a workshop basically, which was going on for a few months. And there's like maybe 500-600 people in this workshop. And then he called out my name in front of everybody in the room. And he said, that, I met a lot of people, I saw a lot of faces, but everybody will remember Umar Abu Saidi. So when he said that, this is the son of the president, so that was a huge honor for me. And I feel like, that was a big thing. Thank you for asking that question, by the way, Tanante. Thank you, everybody. Good, John. Thank you for your comments. And I think we're about to close soon. Everybody else is saying goodbye. And yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. You know where to follow me. You can see my information is there. I appreciate all your comments, your questions, your engagement. This was very cool. And like I said, I learned from you just like how you guys learned from me. And this recording will be uploaded later on. So if you need any of the tips, it's probably going to be there later. Remember, be good, be kind, be blessed. It's Friday. For me, it's a holy day. So I'm looking forward to going to pray and connecting to God. And inshallah, we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, and you can access my services. It's on my website. So just go on my website and find everything there. Take care, guys. Assalamu alaikum and ma'as salama.